So I'm heading towards somewhere called the Kokol Heaven Resort, which is on top of this mountain here, and I'm about 40% of the way up, as you can see. Well, I don't know whether you can see them 40% the way up, but there's the road continuing. And my goodness, when this thing started, I thought I was going to die. It was so incredibly steep when it started, like as steep as I can possibly get up on this bike without getting off and pushing. And now it's leveled off a little bit, so I've actually downshifted. So that's nice. It's blazing hot, probably like 30 plus something, 32, 33 degrees minimum, Celsius, not Fahrenheit. And yeah, this is what this bike was built for, I guess. Now I'm using a 5339 standard crankset and an 1128. Now, when I started my bicycle life journey, over 20 years ago, I started with 1123 in the hills of Nottingham, and I upgraded to 1125. So 1128, you know, is a bit of a luxury in my opinion. So whenever I'm doing something like this, this is probably the first proper mountain I've ever climbed up. Over there, there's all these burst pipes on the way up as well, so there's fresh water just, well, I assume it's fresh water. I'm wondering whether I should drink it or not. If I drink it, it might turn out to be sewage or something. But anyway, there's all these burst pipes up the way up this hill. So every now and again you get some puddles, so that should be fun on the way down. I'm going down the other side, so I have no idea what the condition of the road is, but there are potholes up here, so I'm going to take it easy. But yeah, two things. So first thing is, I'm using rim brakes and carbon rims. Now the melting point of these carbon rims is supposed to be around 400 degrees Celsius. Not Fahrenheit, what I'm talking about, 400 degrees Celsius, so 4 times boiling point. That's pretty hot. I don't think I'm going to get them anywhere near that. We shall see. I think this is going to be a really good test of carbon rim brake wheels. Are they safe or not on descents? I think they are. I think it's got to do a lot with how you descend, and the pros were using them for long enough, and I've never seen one fail during a pro tour as a result of braking. I've seen them, you know, hit dogs that are crossing the road and stuff and collapse, and I've seen them brake on cobbles, but I've never seen a carbon rim melt on an alpine descent during a pro tour race. So there you go. So I'm gonna get these nice and hot on the way down, and we'll see what happens, if anything happens at all. I'm also running the Ride Now tubes, the 24 gram ones, the lighter Ride Now tubes. And a lot of people have been asking me, are they rated for rim brakes? Are they safe for rim brakes? And the answer is, well, according to Ride Now, they are. Ride Now produce a 19 gram tube now, which is disc brake only. So that's good for you disc brake guys out there. Drop a bit more weight off your bike. But don't know who it was, but they pipped me. But we shall see. Now, the inner tube is insulated from the rim. I'll draw a picture, maybe when I get back home, and explain it better. But basically, the inner tube sits inside the tyre, and it's up against the wall of the tyre, and it sits on the rim tape. It doesn't actually touch the braking surface. So there's plenty of insulation between the tube and the braking surface. So even if the braking surface gets quite hot, it should be absolutely fine. The melting point of these tubes should be relatively high. And the pressure I'm running them at, I'm well below the maximum pressure of the tyre. So I'm hoping they'll be absolutely fine. It's going to be a good test though, because both of these tubes on this bike have been patched. The front one has got a permanent patch on it, and the rear one has got a temporary patch on it. So this is worst case scenario, right? If these things fail, there'll probably be a good reason for it. If they don't fail, then they're safe to use. It's best part of 1,000 meters of descending coming down the other side. The summit here is 800 and something meters. Let's say 900, all right? 900 meters of descent on twisty, steep roads. So yeah, it's going to be a good test. And the final thing I want to say is this. It's about gearing. Yes, it has been tough up here with a standard chainring and 1128 in my old age and overweightness. But I just think about the guys in the Pro Tour who used to do this in like the 1930s, you know, with like what was it? What were they using? I don't know, 3 gears on the back, 3 little cogs, 2 little cogs. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. They probably had an 11 and a 19. And honestly, I don't know what they had. I'd have to check, but I know it wasn't much. And they used to do this all year round. Incredible, absolutely incredible, guys, on steel frames as well. Now, I'm not suggesting we go back to that, but it just gives me even more admiration for these guys. Right, I shall get back on my bike now. I think I've had enough rest. Shall I have a snack? I think I'll have some biscuits. What have I got in my pocket today? Let's have a look at my treats. Quaker Oat Bickies. Yeah, nice. These ones are honey and oat. So I'll have a few of these because I've got plenty. And then I'll get back to climbing up this bloody great big hill. Right, see you in a bit. There's some beautiful dragonflies here, and I just saw a little snake wiggling across the road, and that's really beautiful. Look at that. 12%. This bit's not so bad, to be honest with you. So I know the bad bit was definitely worse than 12%. And there's a very colourful looking staircase there which goes up to that crest, but I can't be bothered to climb it because it looks like hard work. Talking about hard work, on the way up this hill, a bit further down there, I just passed this little old lady. I say old, I'm guessing her age. I would say she's at least 60 plus if she's a day. And she's probably about up to here on me. Tiny woman. And she's carrying this basket, and the basket goes from the back of her head all the way down to her bum. And it's double her circumference, so you could fit 2 of her inside this basket. And this basket is full of durian fruit right to the top. Now, if you know what a durian fruit is, it's like, some of them are the size of a grapefruit, and it's covered in spikes, and inside it's like 70% pip, it's like 70% seed, so it's got this big stone in it, and it's a heavy fruit, right? And she's got a whole basket of them. I hate to estimate how many, and she's carrying them up this mountain. She's halfway up now probably, and it's at least 12% gradient up here. Incredible, absolutely incredible. It puts you to shame. As I passed her, I said good morning and hello, and commented on the fruit. I would have given her a hand, but I can't put them in my back pocket because they're covered in spikes. But it puts you to shame, because when I passed her, I was doing like 6 kilometers an hour, and then as I passed, I was like, come on, put on a show. So I did about 15, and I saw my heart rate go like that. But still, incredible, just incredible. You underestimate what the human body is capable of. I just hope that the younger generations are capable of the same, that we're as fit and we're as capable, because that's incredible. I really do hope that when she gets too old to lift all those fruit up this hill, there's somebody to help her with a scooter or a little truck to get her fruit home or wherever she's going to sell them, because it would be a shame if she couldn't do it anymore. There you go, it just made me think. I'm still not at the top, but I stopped for the view. Down there, that is where this all started. You see that sort of brown muddy area? That's the construction site at the bottom of the hill. So that's where the real climbing began, and that's where it started out really steep. And over there, I believe, is the Imago shopping centre, which is where I'm staying right now. So, God, goodness me, that's far away. I think that's there because this semicircular bay area I cycled around yesterday. So I cycled from here to, where is it? There. Could you see that jetty just poking out there? That's where I cycled to from yesterday. So I went from there to there, but I had to come through this lot because there was no, on the way back, there was no straight road back that I could get to, so I had to kind of weave around this lot of rubbish in the middle, and it was very unpleasant. Drivers here are not very used to cyclists, and they're not very accommodating to cyclists, and the roads are pretty awful down there, lots of potholes. The potholes are exactly where you would want to place your bike, and they're big as well. They could pop your tyre, so nasty potholes. So I end up moving to like a primary lane position. There are 2 lanes on all the roads pretty much, so drivers can easily go round, but they don't because they're annoying like that. So I finally made it to the top at the Cockle Heaven Resort, and I'm just taking it easy here at the reception area. You can see through here. There we are, the views where they have their breakfast in the morning, I think. Very nice. We've got some statues here, dressed in traditional clothing, and some gongs on the wall, and these lovely wooden elephants. And over here at the reception, this lovely young lady is Lolly.
Hello, welcome to Cockle Heaven Resort.
Hello, welcome. And she was good enough to give me a bottle of cold water,
Yeah, of course.
because this silly fool here forgot his money.
Okay, I don't mind.
Yeah, she was very nice. Thank you so much. And would you recommend to stay here?
Yes, very recommend.
Yeah, you're staying here now, aren't you?
Yes.
And it's beautiful rooms and a great view.
Yes, a very good view.
How's the makan?
Oh, very good.
Very
yeah,
good?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
please.
the food is good here. I'll give you the price list. So this is all in ringgit. So over here we've got some rooms for about 230 ringgit per night. Going up to about, ooh, what's this? We've got a VIP suite for 1,000 ringgit. Wow, super king bed. And 3 bathrooms. Wow, that's impressive. All right, let's have a look more around the resort. Thank you so much, Lolly. Have a lovely day. So these are the 230 RM rooms. You get a little balcony. And they look quite nice, actually. Plenty of parking. And obviously from the balcony you get some pretty nice views as well. I can't see much because of the trees. And there's a pitch and putt here, some crazy golf, and a little outdoor gym as well. That's fun. What else? Oh, and some basketball hoops. So you can come out here on the top of a hill / mountain and play some basketball. Maybe there's some decent views from over there. Let's go check. Here we go, guys. Check that out. Absolutely beautiful. I made it to the top of a mountain. I never doubted myself for a second. I doubted myself on the first bit where it started to kick up. and it was really steep. I was like, oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? But after that, I was pretty confident I'd get to the top. Phenomenal. All right, folks, so I'm on my way back now. I'm about to test out the wheels, the tires, the inner tubes on the way down. Let's see if we can cook them off. I won't be intentionally trying to build up heat in the rims, but it's pretty steep on the way down. It's pretty fast, and I don't know the road, so I am going to be using the brakes a lot, and we shall see if I burn them out. Right, wish me luck. Bit of a navigational disaster, guys. So I was coming down this road and I flew past my turning, which is, where is it? That one, is it? Yeah, there's the sign there. Tiny little road there. It's incredibly steep. It's made of concrete. It's full of lumps. And it looks incredibly dodgy and deserted. And I'm thinking, this is not good. Now, I've just done some descending and I was doing like 70 kilometers an hour, and it was really dodgy because there was dogs everywhere over the road. Like, you were just coming down the road and there was dogs just all lying in the middle of the road, and as soon as you go past them, they all get up and start running after you. Some of them run out in front of you. Absolute nightmare. And I'm gonna have to go back up that road because I've just realized that Google Maps is incorrect. I don't think I can get back down this road. I think this road actually takes me further away from where I'm going. So I've got to climb back up to the Cockhole, whatever it's called, resort, and back down the side that I came up. It's my only option now. My battery on my phone is starting to run low. It's 40%, but that's low for me. I'm running low on food and water. So I'm not chancing the dodgy back road that potentially could end up being a dead end. And I'm not going further away from where I want to go because I don't know how far that even goes before it rejoins society. So I've got to bite the bullet and climb back up the hill with the angry dogs, which are going to be chasing me uphill. So not looking forward to that, but wish me luck. Hopefully they don't bite me. I don't know. This would have been a nice descent had it not been for the dogs. I tried to keep it under 70 and so far so good. The wheels didn't get too hot, but oh, bloody dogs. So I was on my way back up the hill to the resort, 17% gradient, and I got rescued by a lovely couple who treated me to lunch, and now they're taking me in their car back to the resort. So I can go down the other side easily without having to climb all the way up again. So I'm very thankful for that. Do you mind being included in the video, or are you embarrassed?
We don't mind.
Oh, you don't mind? Okay. So this is the couple that took me up. Actually, what's amazing is they're from Brunei as well. So yes, it's a small world. They used to live in Brunei for many years, and they was it you moved to Malaysia 2 years ago?
No, 13 years ago.
Oh, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brunei, but he doesn't.
13 years ago. So there you go. Small world. So I'm getting a luxury trip in their car back to the resort. Very lucky. Oh, and I got lunch as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, being in Borneo is very nice. People are so friendly.
Okay, so a few hours later after lunch, I'm back on my way down the hill. This is my reward for climbing all the way up here. So at least the good news is I know this hill on the way up, so I should know it on the way down. And it's a lot less steep than the other side where I couldn't go down. So there you go. Let's do some descending. Well, that was fun. I'm almost at the bottom and my ears have just gone pop. Like, you know that thing you get where the air pressure's changing? And I can't hear very well. Hang on. Oh, there we go. That's better. Goodness me. I just equalized the pressure in my head. So I come down so quick, my eardrums didn't have time to adapt to the pressure change. So that was fun. I didn't go too crazy. I think I kept it below 60 or 70 kilometers an hour on the way down. I wasn't pushing it. I'm not a skillful descender. I don't do this enough to push it. So I was being very cautious. I was on the brakes quite a lot. And as a result, the brakes were getting pretty hot. I've just stopped before the bottom. This is the bottom here where the building works are, because I don't want to be riding fast into the gravel area and come a cropper. I'll check the heat on the wheels now. Obviously, I've been standing here for a few seconds, so they'll be not quite as hot as they were a few seconds ago. Here we go. Here are the rims, and I'm just going to touch them. They are pretty hot. I'd say pretty warm to the touch, but not burning hot. Let's try the front one. Oh, the front one's much hotter. Like I say, I've been standing here for a few seconds now, so they've reduced in temperature quite a lot. I would say that is like, what would I say that is? 40 degrees maybe to 50 degrees. It's hot. No, 40, 50 degrees would burn my hand. So it's going to be around 40 degrees, I would say. Now, I definitely did feel that these got hotter after the initial descent, because the initial descent down here was really steep, and I did pull over once to let the brake pads and the brake tracks cool down, because I simply don't want to do anything stupid on this way down this hill, because like I say, I'm not a good descender, and I'm maybe a bit heavy on the brakes. But so far, the ride now tubes have not popped, the tyres have not come unseated, the rims have not delaminated, and I have had them much hotter than this. These are cooling down surprisingly quickly, actually. So there you go. Let's say about 800 meters of descending. Lots of tight corners and hairpins on the way down. Yeah, so all going well so far. Let's get to the bottom. Back to civilization. I actually made it back to the room. So over 1,000 meters of climbing. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the performance of the rim brakes on the way down the mountain. I still genuinely believe that professional riders are better off with rim brakes. I think they would be immeasurably faster down and uphill using rim brakes. They're just lighter, they're more aero, and I prefer the way they give me feedback, because I find the hydraulic braking of disc brakes, there feels like a disconnect between the caliper and the trigger and my hand, you know. Whereas with rim brakes, I feel that direct contact with the cable pulling against the pads, and the feedback is really useful to me. It tells me how hard I'm braking, and it allows you to communicate with the wheels and prevent yourself from overdoing it, basically. And they cooled down very quickly. Like I say, I started that previous video immediately after pulling over, after coming down, and within a matter of seconds they were, you know, hot enough that I could touch them, or cool enough that I could touch them with my bare hand. I would say around 40 degrees, maybe less. So way lower than the 300 or 400 degree Celsius temperature that they're supposed to melt at, which is very reassuring. So as for novices though, are novices better off with disc brakes? That's a very interesting question. If a novice is more likely to overbrake and not control their descent and not pull over, because disc brakes also get hot, I actually think that disc brakes could give you a false sense of security and cause you to either overbrake so much you end up flipping the bike over, or be so heavy on the brakes because you think that you're impervious to overheating and warp the rotor or seize the pads. You know, the ceramic pads and everything can get seized in the calipers if they get too hot. or the calipers get too hot. And then you get brake fade as well. You get really bad brake fade with disc brakes once they get to a certain temperature. So there is the chance that as you're coming down the mountain, again, if you're a novice rider and you've got disc brakes, that you have this false sense of security and you'll be over braking. So neither system really is perfect. I prefer rim brakes, and I want manufacturers to allow me the choice to have rim brakes. And I don't think with modern carbon rim brake wheels there is any issue really with coming down steep descents, if you know what you're doing and if you control yourself, and if you, like you say, pull over when it's sensible. After all, most of us are not professional riders, and the pros have never had a problem descending with rim brakes. They've always been very, very good at it. Why need the extra braking power of discs? The thing is that you can feel yourself as you're coming down a very steep hill at speed and you start to brake. There reaches a point where the bike feels like it's going to tip. You're still decelerating, but you're still moving quite quickly. If you depress the brakes any more, you'll lock them up. Either you'll lock them up and you'll flip the bike because you're going down such a steep hill that there's no more, the forces are trying to pull your back wheel up in the air. And if you apply a lot of front brake, which is your most powerful brake, that's what's going to happen. You're just going to flip the bike. And then if you over brake on a slightly shallower descent, but you're still going at high speed, all that will happen is you'll start to skid. And then a skid is uncontrollable because you don't have ABS. You don't have ABS on disc for sure. On rim, you kind of have a little bit of ABS because they do slip a bit more than disc slips. Disc can just lock up totally, whereas rim brakes, they tend to slip and slide slightly. So you have a kind of an ABS. It doesn't fully lock up on you as easily, in my opinion. But if you lock your wheels, if you're just going off the corner, that's it. And if the corner is the edge of a cliff, then, you know, good night. The other argument for disc brakes, in favour of disc brakes, is you don't need much strength in order to operate them. However, today, all I was using was these two fingers. I was on the drops, okay, so I was on the curve of the bar. I had two fingers around the base of the trigger. Not the base, sorry, the end of the trigger, so the most leverage possible. And I had more than enough leverage there to slow down. And I think if I had any more, you know, if I was being aided by the power of hydraulics, there's a risk of less feedback and over braking. So I actually prefer the way you get the feedback from the rim brakes, and I prefer the feel of rim brakes. And do I think it's necessary to have discs if you've got weak hands? Perhaps. I think that's an option if you're frail, or if you have some disability, or, you know, arthritis, for example. Then I think hydraulic disc brakes might be a better option. But then if you are in that condition, perhaps descending very quickly down a mountainside might not be a good idea anyway. I can't think of anything else to say. If I think of anything else to say, I shall let you know. But I think that about wraps it up for today. So thank you very much for watching, folks. And as always, wherever you're riding, whatever you're riding, try to stay safe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.